What is going on, friends? My name is Chris down here in the Seacrest Studios at Children's Hospital, Colorado. It is Halloween! I can't believe it! What in the world? I'm dressed as a big baby today, but then again, I am most days. So, hey, we got a special treat for you outside of just the regular Halloween fun. We've got a friend Maya on the line. Maya, are you there?
Yes, hi.
Hi, Maya! Are you having a good Halloween so far?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, and your Halloween's about to get better, right?
Yes.
Why is that?
Because Shawn Ashmore is calling in.
Shawn Ashmore is on the line with us today. Thanks for being here, Shawn. Maya, take it away.
Okay, so I just want to say, first of all, that it was amazing to meet you a couple weeks ago, and I was a bit overwhelmed and like super starstruck. So, and I just want to say thank you so much for calling in today. I'm really excited to get to talk with you.
Well, it was such a pleasure meeting you on set, and a surprise meeting you on set a couple weeks ago. So I was so happy when I had the opportunity to call in and have a chat with you.
Thank you. Yeah, so my first question for you is, when was the first moment you knew you wanted to be an actor?
Well, so I have a twin brother named Aaron, and he and I we started acting when we were really young, actually, but we kind of fell into it. My mom was walking us through a park as kids, and a casting director just came right up to us and asked my mom if we wanted to audition for a commercial. And my mom asked us, and we said, well, what's it for? And the casting director was like, it's for a toy commercial. And we were like, great, we get to go play with toys. Like, let's go do that. So that's kind of how it started for us. And we were about 9 years old when that happened. And Aaron actually booked the commercial, but was sick on the day. So I got to do it for him. So I like to say that Aaron, my brother, had a big part in me becoming a professional actor. But then I think when I was around 14 or 15 is when I really decided that I wanted to pursue it as a career. I loved it as kind of like an activity that we did. You know, we sang in a choir, I played instruments, I did community theater stuff, and I was working professionally as well. But I think at around 14 or 15 is when I decided that I wanted to try to make this a career.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So you played Iceman in the X-Men films. What was the best part of being a part of that universe?
So many cool things about being a part of the X-Men movies. One, I was a huge X-Men fan growing up, and comic books in general. I read a lot of comic books, a lot of sci-fi, fantasy stuff. So I was a fan of the characters before I even was cast. So that was very exciting, just to get a chance to be a character that I had read and enjoyed in another medium, comic books. Also, I got to meet and work with some of the most talented people behind the camera and in front of the camera, whether it be actors, filmmakers, that I've ever had a chance to work with. Amazing, amazing people. And the other thing that was really cool is it felt like every maybe 3 years we got to come together again and make another movie. So it kind of felt like we were all getting to come and work together again. So it was like sort of like a family reunion. Every couple of years we'd come back and make another movie. We ended up making 4 together. So it was just, the whole experience was cool. And it also brought my career to another level as well. Being a part of such a big franchise and a theatrical franchise was huge. So the whole thing was pretty cool.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah. So more recently, you played a lamplighter in the Amazon Prime show, The Boys, which for everyone listening at the hospital is definitely for an older audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was it fun playing a villainous superhero?
Yeah, it was amazing. And you're right. I'm going to say this again. The Boys is definitely not for children, definitely a more adult show. But yes, it was very fun and it was very intentional. The character Lamplighter I played was, not only was he kind of a villain, he also had the ability to control fire. So pretty much the opposite ability that I had in the X-Men films. And it was very intentional. The Boys kind of subverts the superhero genre, which is one of the reasons I wanted to be a part of it. I thought it was kind of a different and interesting and fun take on all of the superhero entertainment that we have right now. So it was very, very fun. A totally different experience, but I knew that's what they were going for. They were like, let's cast the guy that played Iceman to be the character that can control fire in The Boys. So I had a lot of fun with that. And yeah, it was really cool. Great cast. Really nice people. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So you play Wesley Evers in The Rookie, which is my all-time favorite show.
Yay.
Can you relate to Wesley in any way?
Yeah, I relate to Wesley in a lot of ways. It was interesting when I started on The Rookie. I was a reoccurring character, so I really just came in for a few episodes at the beginning. And obviously there was this potential romance with Angela, but we weren't sure that it was going to develop the way that it did. I mean, now the characters are married with a baby, you know, so it really went well, their romance and their relationship. But I think because the character really wasn't a lead character right away, and Wesley just popped up here and there, I think it allowed the writers to kind of see what kinds of scenes and what kinds of moments were working between Angela and Wesley, and then kind of write for those. So I actually feel like Wesley, there's a lot of me in Wesley, and I think that's because the writers started to see what was working, the way that I perform, and started to kind of create scenes that I think worked between the two characters. So yeah, I can relate to Wesley in a lot of ways. His personality, he's kind of sensitive, but he can get the job done when he needs to. I think Wesley's kind of funny, and I think I can be kind of funny sometimes. So and also I think that really deep down, he really cares about what he does, whether it be his legal career or his relationship with Angela. You know, I think he's a pretty genuine guy, and I try to have, and I aspire to those qualities anyway. So I think Wesley and I have some similarities.
Oh, cool. So what has been your favorite episode to film so far?
Wow, there's so many. I mean, we're on season 5. There's so many great episodes. I really liked episode 1 in season 4, where we go and rescue Angela when La Fiera has kidnapped her. That was just like a huge episode. When I read it, I was like, this feels like a Mission Impossible movie. There's like helicopters and rescues and fight scenes. And so I really enjoyed filming that one just because it felt like a big action movie, and Wesley got to be a part of that, which was cool. I think this season, my favorite scene anyway to film, and it just aired, was there's a dinner table scene in the episode where we meet all of Angela's family. And I thought it was so cool that we finally got to meet her brothers and her mother. And there's like a really touching, nice scene at the end of that episode where Angela's mom kind of gives her a toast. And it felt really cool. I loved how heartfelt that scene was. I felt like it was really earned because we hadn't met Angela's family yet. So I love that scene. I was just a small part of that scene, but it was really great to shoot. And when I watched it, it felt the way that I wanted it to when we were shooting it. So that was cool.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I love that scene too.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah. So you were in the movies The Ruins, Aftermath, and Blackout, and the show The Following, which all of these were so good and very, very creepy.
Yeah.
And I actually couldn't sleep after watching Aftermath.
Oh yeah.
Um, what draws you to the horror genre?
That's a great question. I actually have done a ton of horror projects. First of all, I really like horror films and genre stuff. Again, I think I mentioned earlier, like I was really into comic books and science fiction and fantasy and horror stuff as a kid. I think a big part of that is just liking how you can take a story or an issue, and when you put it into a genre, whether it be horror or science fiction or fantasy, it kind of makes it more palatable, to understand something. It's not like, hey, here's the message we're trying to tell you. It's like it creates more escapism, and I think it creates a little more entertainment. And hopefully, good genre stuff, good horror things can sort of inject an interesting message or a take on an issue while making it entertaining for people. So that's what I like about some of the best horror films and horror projects. And I think maybe that's why I'm drawn to those things. I just like a scary story. And yeah, Aftermath was a creepy story. I felt that when I knew where all the jump scares were, but when I watched that movie for the first time, I still jumped. I still got a little creeped out. So that to me is a success. If I can do that, knowing where all those moments are, then we've made a pretty fun, scary movie. So I like that stuff.
Oh, cool. Yeah, the whole time we were watching it, like I was watching it with my mom, and because I was like, I'm not watching this alone.
Good.
And she kept looking over at me like, are you okay? And I was like, I'm fine. I can rationalize this. And by the end, I was just like, I am so scared right now.
Well, I'm sorry we scared you, but also it also sounds like we did our job because we were trying to make a scary movie. So that's great.
Yeah. So do you have a favorite horror or thriller?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do. I think Rosemary's Baby is one of my favorite horror films, kind of a classic horror film. What I like about it, when a movie has and I'm not going to spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen it, but it's a classic horror film, psychological thriller maybe, but it has a big twist. And I love movies that have a huge twist, but if you rewatch the movie, you can everything is there for you. You just didn't know what to look for. What I don't like in psychological thrillers or horror films with a big twist is when an audience feels manipulated. Like it's like, hey, look over here, and then it's like, oh, just kidding, it was this the whole time. I like when you can go back and find the little breadcrumbs. And so when I rewatch Rosemary's Baby, I see all the moments. They weren't hiding anything. The filmmakers weren't hiding anything from us as an audience. We just didn't know what to look for. So that's one of the horror films that I love, and one of the reasons, because when I watch it again and again, I can see all those moments and it's all very clear. We just didn't know what we were looking for the first time we saw it. So that's one of my favorites. The scariest movie I've ever seen, and I've seen it twice and I probably will never watch it again, is The Exorcist. I find that to be the scariest. I had nightmares. I couldn't sleep. I was covering my eyes. I saw it at home the first time in my basement, and then it was re-released at some point. Maybe it was an anniversary or something like that in the theaters. And I went to go see it in the theater, and I was like, halfway through, I was like, why did I do this? It's so scary. Why did I do this to myself? But again, I feel like the reason that people love horror films is because you're scared, but you're also safe. It's like the same reason we love roller coasters. It's like, yeah, if you were really on a ride where you were dropping 1,000 feet and you weren't going to be safe, it would be terrifying. But we know that we're going to be safe, just like we know that we're going to be safe when we're watching a horror film. So we love to be scared in a safe environment, and I think that's why people love horror stuff.
Yeah. I love psychological thrillers.
What's your favorite?
My favorite. Okay, so I can't. I can't do horror movies.
Right.
I don't know why I can watch thrillers, but not horror movies. but one of my favorites is called Fear of Rain.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
It came out last year, I think, and it's I don't remember when it came out,
Right.
but yeah, and it's really good.
I'll look it up.
One of those psychological thrillers that kind of it's not that movie, but like I know what you're talking about with ones where you go back and watch and see all the clues.
Yeah.
That like I love doing that, and once you know what's going on, being like, oh, I missed that last time, or I didn't think anything of that.
Exactly. Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Yeah. Oh.
Are you still there?
Yeah, sorry, my computer is being very weird. I don't know what just happened. Sorry.
That's okay. That's my life. My computer's always acting up. My phone's always acting up.
Yeah, our power went out earlier, so now everything is just very not working right. So
got it.
Yeah. So, but you've been in so many different things. Of all the characters you've played, is there one that you've related to the most?
That's a really hard question. I don't know who. Again, I think to hopefully play a character well and do justice to any character, like you have to relate to them in some way. You don't necessarily have to agree with their actions or the way that they feel about something. That's the way that I always look about it. Because sometimes I play characters that aren't necessarily good. Often I played characters that are maybe heroic, and then sometimes I played characters that are very human. So I think I relate to all of the characters in some way. I think I try to at least understand their point of view. And even if they're doing things that I don't agree with, I try to understand why they may be making those choices. So again, it's not always that I agree with the choice, but I have to understand why they might do that to sell to an audience that this character is a real person living their life, making choices that they think are best. Because I think that's what we all do, is make the choices that we think are best. And often we don't agree with other people and their choices, but I don't, for the most part, think that people are making choices that they think are wrong, even if they lead to bad consequences. So I feel like that about characters I play. So I think in some way I relate to all of them. I do think that I'm very close to Wesley. I think the personality, Wesley and I have a very similar personality. So in that sense, I think we're similar, but I do relate to the character. Most of the characters, really all of the characters that I played, I've tried to relate to them.
Oh, cool. So is there a show that you're currently obsessed with?
Oh yeah. So many. I watch a lot of television and film. I know a lot. Some people don't. Sometimes you talk to actors and they're like, I don't really watch stuff, or I'm not into that. I love film and TV. So let's see. Right now I'm watching Andor on Disney Plus, which is the newest Star Wars series, and it's my favorite to date. I think the writing for me has been the most interesting, the performances, the direction. I really love everything about it. So I'm watching that and really liking it. House of the Dragon on HBO. I finished the first season and loved it. What else? I'm rewatching a show called Peaky Blinders that I loved the first time around. And I'm rewatching that just because I thoroughly enjoyed that world and those characters. So those are the shows that I'm watching right now. And those are all actually pretty heavy dramas, but I tend to watch drama. That's what I'm really interested in.
Oh,
and then my wife and I, when we watch a show, right now we're watching Ted Lasso. She doesn't like stuff that's as heavy necessarily. So when we watch a show together, we're catching up on Ted Lasso, and that's really great too.
Oh, cool. Yeah, Ted Lasso is one of my favorites. I love that show.
Yeah, it's hard not to love that show. It's just so funny and fun and feel good, and we all need that sometimes.
Yeah. I love, my mom says I'm a weird mix because I love light comedies, but then I also love like some darker shows and dramas. And so I love Ted Lasso.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, there's another comedy that my mom and I are watching right now called Reboot on Hulu.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. I haven't seen it yet, but I've seen the trailers for it. It looks really funny.
Yeah, it is.
It's like rebooting a sitcom, right? It's like years after the fact. Yeah, I've seen that. I haven't seen it. I've seen the commercials for it. It looks really good.
Yeah, it is. And then we just finished watching the second season of One of Us is Lying.
Oh, how's that?
It's really good. I love that show. I was obsessed with the first season. So
cool.
I was so excited when the second one came out. So we watched it in just a couple days.
Well, you're giving me a bunch of good stuff to check out. So that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So what not so good movie do you secretly love?
Oh, like a guilty pleasure movie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, so this is a movie that I was talking about, and I don't know if it's a good movie or not. It's from my childhood, and I loved it, and I've probably seen it 1,000 times. But I don't know if it's considered a good movie. Did you ever see Encino Man?
I didn't.
Okay. So it's a movie from the 90s, like late 90s, I think, with Sean Astin and Brendan Fraser and Pauly Shore. And it's a goofy premise. It's like these guys that live in the valley in California unearth like a caveman, like frozen in ice, and he defrosts, and he's really cool looking. So he's cool. He looks cool, whatever that means. So they dress him up and pretend that they're like his best friend so that they can be cool at school. It's a super goofy movie. And I haven't seen it in like 20 years. So I don't know if it holds up, but I remember loving it. And I was talking to a friend of mine. I'm 43. And I was like a kid when I watched it. So it's an older movie, but I was talking to a friend of mine who's the same age as me. And we were like, man, we should rewatch Encino Man because there's some great actors in it. And I have such a soft spot. It was like a part of my childhood, but I actually don't know if it's a good movie. I don't know if I watch it and I'll be like, oh, that was silly. Like that doesn't work at all. Or if I still feel the same way about it. So I'm going to say Encino Man. There's probably a bunch of movies that people would consider not great movies, but I'm kind of asking that question. Like, I don't know, maybe Encino Man's a great movie and people still love it, or you watch it the first time and you think it's silly. I don't know, but you should check it out and let me know what you think.
I will. Yeah, I just wrote it down. So
yeah. It's like it's a comedy, you know, like it's definitely a silly movie, but I really enjoyed it.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So is there a personality trait that seems to always get you in a little bit of trouble?
My personality trait?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm not the best at confrontation. You know what I mean? I try to avoid confrontation, which I think can be a good thing sometimes, but other times it's better to like deal with things head on. So sometimes problems get bigger because I don't deal with them right away. I just kind of let it go because I don't want to get into an argument or a disagreement. So that's something that I'm working on because that's definitely something that gets me in trouble sometimes.
Yeah, there are definitely some times where I just like avoid a problem. I'm like, as long as I don't think about it, it's not there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, me too. And that never works, unfortunately. I
yeah,
wish that was the case.
yeah, me too. Yeah. So is there a motto or quotation that you live by?
Hmm. Huh. I don't know. I don't think that there's one that I like, maybe famous words that people would recognize. But I mean, I try to, um, I just try to do the right thing, or what I think is the right thing, whether it be dealing with people, with my family, with strangers, with people I work with. I just try to do the right thing from my point of view. That's it. I mean, I think we should all strive to do that. I don't think that it always works. I think we're all human. We're all flawed. We all make mistakes, or we can be selfish, or, all those things. We all have those qualities in us, but that's what I strive to do, is just do the right thing. And that can mean a bunch of things, whether it's for my family, whether it's for me, whether it's for friends, whether it's for strangers. I'm just always trying to do the right thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I like that.
Yeah. I'm not always successful in that, but that's the goal.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same way, that there's always, sometimes I don't know what the right thing is, so I just go with what I think.
Yeah. I think it's important to trust yourself and to go with your gut too. Because otherwise I feel like I second guess decisions, and I'm like, well, what should I do? Or what's the expectation of me? And it's like, well, now I'm just like trying to mind read what other people want or need. And as opposed to just being like, I know what I think is right, I'm just going to go with that. And then I can deal with the repercussions. If it's a mistake, then I don't feel bad. It's like, but I felt like that was the right thing to do. So I can be wrong, and I can admit that I didn't make the right choice, but at least I went with what I thought was the right choice, And so that's, to me, it's always good advice. Like, go with your gut, trust yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. My mom taught me and my sister from a young age to always trust your gut and go with your gut instinct.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's a good thing to teach your kids, for sure.
yeah. Yeah. So my last question for you is, who do you consider to be a real life superhero, and why?
So that's a great question.
Thank you.
I grew up in Canada. So if people are watching this that live in the United States, they probably have never heard of this person. But he's literally, I would say he's a Canadian superhero. His name was Terry Fox. And he was a young man, like in his late teens, early 20s. And he was diagnosed with cancer, and he lost his right leg below the knee. And he decided that he was going to run across Canada to raise money for cancer research. And he ended up doing something called the Marathon of Hope. He started on the East Coast and he ran a marathon every day for like several months in a row, which, if you ask professional athletes or professional marathon runners, like, you can't do back-to-back marathons like that. You need a week of rest between a real marathon. He did it every day for months on end on one leg. And by the time he was finished his run, he had to stop about halfway through because his cancer came back. But he had raised so much attention and so much money for cancer awareness in Canada that he became a national hero. And there's the Terry Fox Foundation based out of Canada. And they made a movie of him, and I got to play Terry. So I met his family. I got involved with the foundation, and it was one of the greatest honors of my life. So every year they do the Terry Fox run all across Canada in schools, and you raise money. So you get like sponsorships, and you do the run as school kids. So every school kid in Canada knows about Terry Fox. He's even on our $1 coins. So he was a real life superhero. And to me, and I had the chance to play him in a film and get to know a little bit of some of his family and some of the people that were on the run with him. So I would say he's a Canadian superhero. He really selflessly dedicated his life and his effort to raising money, but also awareness in Canada for cancer research. So an amazing hero. You should look him up after you're done. Terry Fox. He's an amazing guy. He was an amazing man, and he passed away. But also my dad passed away from cancer. And my dad battled cancer. So I think it hit home for me. I understood what Terry fought for. And it was a moving and heroic effort that he put in. So Terry Fox is my real life superhero.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Yeah, I'm gonna look him up right after the interview.
Yeah, he's amazing. He did his run in the early 80s. So he did it a long time ago when I was a kid. But amazing man.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah, he sounds like it. Well, thank you so much for calling in. If you can't tell, I'm still starstruck. So
it was my pleasure. Thanks for inviting me. I was so happy to see you on set, and I hope you had fun that day.
I did. Oh, it was so much fun. It was like the best day ever.
Did it, is it weird? Like, does it take you out of the show now? Like when you watch it, you're like, oh, I've been there. It's not as real or it's not as fun. Or was it cool that you got to be behind the scenes?
Yeah. It was really cool.
Good. I'm glad. That's awesome.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. And the only reason I was joking with a friend of mine that the only reason I was excited to come back to Denver was to catch up on The Rookie, because we had missed all the episodes that were on when we were in LA. So I was like, we can catch up on The Rookie. I'm happy.
Good.
So
Excellent. That's so cool. I'm so happy to hear that.
Well, Shawn, thanks so much for spending time with us today.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Good talking to you.
All right.
Bye, Maya.
Thank you. Bye.
See you, Shawn.
See ya.